What is the relationship, if any, between the power snatch and the snatch? And will doing the former make you better at the latter? In this video, we'll look at these questions and watch some near maximal power snatches by a couple top athletes, and get insight from USA's Harrison Morris on what works for him. When I started making this video, I was planning on a pretty straightforward training assembly, classic ATG style, maybe with some voiceover. But as I was editing and going through the footage of Harrison's lifts, I noticed something that I didn't really notice when I was first filming this. Watch a few of his top lifts. Here's 120, then 130, then 140. Notice anything? He's power snatching up to past 80 and even 85% of the day's heaviest lift, and very nearly power snatches his 140. That's over 93% of his best full snatch this session. This got me wondering a couple things. First, is this normal for Harrison? And second, should athletes rely on the power snatch to improve in the full snatch? And if so, why? The answer to these questions, as is often the case, is it depends. To get started, let's define our terms. A power snatch is a snatch caught at or above parallel. Some people go with the strict definition of above parallel, but I'm inclined to use the looser definition. In practical terms, this means that the bar must be lifted higher in the power snatch, as the athlete has less distance to travel under the weight. Generally, this means intermediate and advanced athletes will lift lighter weight in the power snatch than the snatch. All other things being equal and assuming no limiting factors due to mobility or injury, if an athlete's power snatch exceeds their snatch, then it's safe to assume their technique is still at a beginner level. Most experienced athletes can power snatch anywhere from 80 to 90% of their best snatch. We'll say 85% is a good average, but remember that there is plenty of variation, and there are athletes who fall well below or above this range. If we watch Harrison, we can see that for this day's training, he ends up right within the usual range of power snatch to snatch ratio. Here is 120, which represents 80% of his best for the day and meets pretty much any definition of a power snatch. And here is his 130, about 87% and still a power snatch in my view. I asked Harrison if he also would consider this a power snatch, and he responded, "I'd consider the 130 a power, or at least power-ish. I'll give a little leeway on what is or isn't a power. As long as it's roughly parallel and not obviously below, I'll count it." By 140 kilos, Harrison is starting to cross into snatch territory. And at his next two weights, 145 and 150, the heaviest make of the day, he's definitely hitting a bottom. Interestingly, the ratio in this session, 130 to 150, or about 87%, is nearly identical to that of Harrison's best lifts. His PR power snatch of 140 is 87.5% of his PR snatch, which is 160. We'll come back to Harrison, but for a moment, let's see how Taiwan's Guo Xing Chun looks with power versus full snatches. This training is from the 2019 Worlds, where her best snatch was 106 kilos, although she looked good for a bit more. In this training session, she was focusing on the power lifts. That is, she wasn't using this as just a warm-up to the full lifts. This attempt at 93 kilos is about 88% of her competition best here, and it's still a safe power snatch. She then goes to 95 kilos, which is close, and that's nearly 90% of the 106 she did in competition. To my eyes, this is also a power. So here we have two high-level international athletes power snatching close to 90% of their best snatches. Furthermore, both Harrison and Guo power snatch in a way that closely mimics their full snatch. Let's look more closely, as this is where we get into the question of how related the two lifts are. Ideally, the start position and setup for the two lifts should be identical, especially if you're using the power snatch to improve the snatch. The pull to the knees should also be identical. Watching these variants side by side shows how this is the case. Look at Harrison's positions with these two weights and you'll see that he's not changing anything. If we look at Guo side by side on a power and a full lift, we'll see the same thing. She even uses a near identical setup and pre-lift ritual. You'd be hard-pressed to know if she was going for a power or a full lift just from watching her approach the bar and set up, which is pretty much the same with Harrison. The second pull, the pull under the weight, and the receiving position is where we may see differences. In Harrison's case, his second pull looks very similar. His biggest change is in the height he's receiving the bar, which gets lower and lower. But, and this is important, he's not significantly altering the width of his feet. This is where lifters get into trouble in power snatches. They start moving the feet too wide. what we used to call cowboying, in an effort to stay above parallel. Ideally, if you want maximal transfer, the feet position should remain the same or similar for power and full snatches. Because Harrison doesn't alter his catch position, he's able to seamlessly move from power to full when the weight calls for it. I asked Harrison about this approach, power snatching, until the weight forces him lower, and here's what he said. In general, I tried to power as long as possible before switching to full snatches. Most of the time, my first full snatch is just a failed power that I caught too low. Occasionally, especially in competition, I'll purposefully switch to full snatches earlier in order to get into the pattern of catching it in a full snatch. But all of this is entirely dependent on the day. Some days I stop powering earlier, and some days I keep going. It's really situational and depends on what the goal or purpose of the day is. So what we're seeing here, power up to the heaviest attempts, isn't necessarily an anomaly for Harrison, although it's important to remember that his approach can vary. He emphasized this by adding, the main takeaway would be that it's highly dependent on the day, and there isn't really any rule that I follow to determine when I switch. Guo, from all that I've seen of her training, often takes a slightly different approach, generally doing full snatches most of the way up. She tends to start with muscle and power snatches, and then will mix in power snatches with full snatches up to around 70 or 75%. Harrison also gave some insight into the thought process on why he and other athletes might use power snatches to start, even if they eventually switch in the warm-up as Guo does. I like to use power snatches warming up as a way to work on the speed at the top of the pull and aggression pulling under the bar. It helps me focus on making them powerful and helps me build confidence as I move up to the heaviest weight for the day. It helps me to focus on a solid, snappy lockout and prevents me from racing it to the bottom and having it crash on me. And here we come to the case for using power snatches to improve the snatch. They're a great tool for helping to build power. At its most basic, the underlying goal in weightlifting is producing a maximal amount of force in a very short amount of time, i.e. power. Having the strength of a freight train isn't going to help if it takes you half an hour to generate that kind of force. You need to be able to generate your force quickly. Let's look at one variable related to power output, barbell velocity. In a regular snatch, the peak velocity of the barbell can reach 1.8, 1.9, even 2 meters per second or higher on a maximal attempt for top weightlifters. Peak velocity on submaximal attempts will generally be even higher. To give a simple example, let's say your best snatch is 100 kilos and your peak bar velocity at this weight is 1.95 meters per second. At a submaximal attempt, say 95 kilos, you'll likely have higher peak bar velocity, maybe 2 or 2.05 meters per second. What does all this mean, and why do we care about peak velocity? Well, imagine you were able to increase your peak bar velocity on the 100 kilo snatch to 2.05 meters per second. Now you're moving your top weight the same way you used to move at 95% weight. All other things being equal, this suggests you are now able to lift more weight. I'm purposefully oversimplifying, but it's important to keep in mind that a big component of increasing the result in the snatch is higher peak bar velocity with heavier weights. How this is accomplished is part of the complexities of training, and it will vary from athlete to athlete, but the power snatch is one critical movement that can be used to work on barbell velocity and power output. Remember that for all athletes beyond the beginner stage, the power snatch will involve submaximal weights compared to the snatch, and using lighter weights means being able to work on generating higher bar speeds. Of course, remember that there is a correlation between strength and power output. Strength isn't the only factor affecting power, but it is a big one. So as you incorporate power snatches into your routine or your athlete's program in an effort to improve the snatch, remember to look at yourself or your athlete from a global perspective. That is strength a limiting factor in power development, or can the athlete focus solely or primarily on exerting maximal effort in a shorter amount of time? Are they using their strength effectively to generate more power? Also remember that not every athlete will fit the profiles discussed here. Some athletes do just fine with relatively low barbell velocities, and barbell velocity alone is not an indicator of success in the lifts. What's important for athletes is that they find what works for them. As Harrison noted, I figured out what works for me and gives me what I think is the best chance at being successful. I encourage everyone else to find what personally works for them and employ whatever tactic helps them succeed. Sound advice from an elite international athlete. It's wise to look at the general trends. For example, where do most athletes fall with regard to power and full snatches, and then evaluate yourself or your athlete and see where and how to make changes or improvements. If the power snatch fits with your planning, try to make it as much like a snatch as possible, at least through the start and the pull. That's it. We hope you enjoyed this little excursion into the power snatch. As always, thank you to all our supporters on Patreon who make videos like this possible. If you want more videos like this, head over to our page on Patreon and consider becoming a subscriber. Thanks again.